It's interesting what's going on over in Italy right now. They're having a referendum, and basically it's coming down to a yes or no vote. The no vote would get rid of the current Prime Minister, Renzi, and the yes vote would be kind of on par with what's kind of been going on with Trump and Brexit, the populist type movement that's been going on. And again, that's what everybody thinks is happening. That's what everybody thinks the direction that everything is moving. And you can't blame them. There's other places around Europe specifically, and of course France and Germany specifically. They're having these movements where these populist type, these alt-right that they're calling them, are gaining a lot of ground. They're gaining a lot of popularity, hence the name populist type of vote. But with this vote that's going on, the most recent polls have shown that the no is upwards of 10 points higher than the yeses. So again, something like 55 to 45 would be 10 percentage points ahead in terms of going towards a no. And a no means that Renzi, as he has said, would step down if this does not go through. So basically, these rules, laws that he's trying to put into motion are much more of an authoritarian type of ruling that he's trying to push through. And of course, the populace is saying, no, we've had enough of authoritarianism. We want somebody else that's a more of a that thinks the way we do, that's going to be a little bit more aggressive. So the way that things have been moving in Italy is that, well, first off, with the polls in Italy, which is interesting and maybe something that we could adopt or maybe not. I guess it really doesn't matter an awful lot. But they actually have to cease doing polls and showing polls. I think it's like 2 weeks before the actual election. So they can't keep going and say, oh, here's what the polls say, here's what the poll's saying. So you're not going to get the same type of problems that, per se, we had with the Brexit or that we've had with the presidency over here with Trump and Clinton, and showing that the actual other ones are in the lead. But nonetheless, that doesn't make an awful lot of difference, because you have the polls, and what are they going to do? They're going to keep preaching the same polls, which again had no being considerably ahead of yes in the referendum, or they're going to go and make up their own stuff and say whatever they want. Anyway, long story short is that this whole referendum is going a certain way that looks like that no is going to win and that Renzi is going to be out. Now, what does this mean? The issue here is that Renzi, if he's out, this is the way that they see it happening, is then that a populist would come in, somebody else who is more catering towards the people and what they want. Surprisingly, as a politician, you would think that would be the way that they all are. But nonetheless, what's going to happen then, they believe, is if a populist gets in, they're going to say, no, Italy, we don't want to be in the EU anymore. And so they're looking at that if this populist gets in, then Italy's out of the EU. And then if Italy's out of the EU, then the euro is going to crash, and then the EU is going to crash. So they've painted all these steps that are on almost certainty in many people's minds as to what's going to happen. Why are we talking about that today? Well, because when we look at prophecy, and if we are in the last days, as we believe we are, that Italy looks like they have to be a part of the EU. All right, and it also looks like the euro is the binding factor at this point in time between the core nations of Europe. So why is it that Italy needs to be in and be integrated with the EU? Is because the false prophet is going to come out of Italy, all right, according to the Bible. So if that's the case, and it's going to be a part of this political, economic, military, religious power. So Italy, to me, has to continue to be a part of this European Union because of what the Bible says is going to continue to happen. So it seems to be, again, we're not going to necessarily second guess God and how God's going to accomplish these things and how it's going to happen. But nonetheless, it does appear that according to prophecy, that again, once again, and this is the point, is that things are going to go against the tide, against the way that everybody thinks it's going to go. And if it does go against that, then I would dare say that prophecy is indeed marching on.